Hey guys, welcome back. So this is part 2 of the grenade tutorial, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this little orange tracer thing that I have going on here that shows you where your grenade is going to land, and we'll be going over that today. If you haven't watched the first video, I suggest you go and watch that one first, come back to this one, and that way we can all be on the same page. Alright, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to right click here in the content browser, go to Blueprint Class, and we're going to create a new actor. And this actor we're going to call Tracer. And we'll open up the Tracer. And what we're going to do in here, we're going to add a component. We'll get a sphere. And we'll call this Tracer Mesh. And we're just going to change this scale on the Z to 0.1. That way it looks like a nice little disk here. And the other important thing to remember, because I already messed this up on a previous attempt with this, is make sure your collision preset for this is no collision. So we're going to compile that, and we'll change this material, it's like red, emissive, or whatever you guys want to color this. Okay, and that'll be all for our tracer, I believe. So now we're going to open up the player character where we did all this scripting before. So remember, we have our grenade being launched with the F key, setting this grenade arc, and then we're setting the world rotation of our grenade launch point, and that's what gives us the trajectory that we're going to be throwing the grenade at. So what we're going to add to this now, so we're going to pull off of the pressed and we're going to say sequence. And before we start doing this grenade arcing and all that other stuff, drag this down, just hold control and you can move your pin down like this. We're going to say spawn actor from class, and the actor we want to get now is our tracer. And the location, we'll say make transform. This location really doesn't matter. But we're gonna just put it at the grenade launch point here, since we already have its world location. And we'll just plug this into here, and that's really all you need to do. And the reason this doesn't matter is because right after that, when we're setting this grenade arc, we're also going to add another pin here, and we'll make another timeline. So let me move all of this stuff down, get this out of the way. And we're going to say timeline, add a timeline here, and we'll call this tracer location. We already have that tracer. And we'll move this to say play from start. And what we're going to do here, after we spawn this tracer, we're going to right click here, we'll promote it to a variable, and we'll call this tracer reference. So now that we have a reference to our tracer, we can now change its world location. So we'll drag this out here and say get, and then we'll say get, set world location. Of the default scene root, and this is going to be updated continuously from this timeline here. And that's why it really doesn't matter where this starts off, because it's really going to only exist there for like a millisecond before we start setting it. So this location is the important one that we want to make sure it's following the grenade's arc. And the way we're going to do that is by right clicking here and say projectile path, and we'll say predict projectile path by trace channel, and we're going to hook this up to the tracer timeline and hook that up like that. We'll move this over, and what we're going to do is right here right click and say split this out hit structure pin, and we're going to get the out hit location here and plug that in to be the new location that we want this tracer to be basically moved to. Now we're going to need to grab this. So Once we release, remember we're coming down here, we're stopping our grenade arc, and then we're spawning the grenade. But what we also want to do here is stop this, now that we made this tracer thing. So, I might have already had this in here, but if you don't have it, just click here, say add a new pin, and we want to make sure that we stop the tracer from updating itself. So once we create the grenade, we don't want the tracer to be moving. So we're going to stop that at the same time we create the grenade. Alright, and now the only other thing I think we need to do is we're going to drag out of here. Now we want the tracer to disappear when the grenade hits the ground. So we're going to go into the grenade. I can find that. Right in here. And you remember, guys, we had this thing as the only thing that we had in here in the grenade. So what we're going to do is create a variable, and we'll call this the tracer. And what we're going to do is we're going to link the tracer that we created with the grenade to this tracer variable here. So we're going to make it an object actor reference, because that's what the tracer is that we're creating in the player character. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the grenade mesh here and scroll down and get on component hit event here, this first one. We'll click on that, and then we're going to say do once, because we only want this to execute one time. And then we're going to say this tracer, we'll pull it out, say git, and destroy actor. And we'll plug that in here. Now right now this is just an empty variable, so we're going to compile and save. And we're going to go back into our beginner character, and you'll see right here after we spawn our grenade from here, now that we have that variable, we'll pull it out and we'll say set tracer, and we'll move this pin here and move this back here. And what we're going to do is set this tracer to this tracer reference. Now remember, the tracer reference is a reference to the actual tracer that we spawned here. This way, every time you spawn a grenade, it spawns a tracer and a grenade together, and the grenade that spawned with the tracer is right here. And because we put a tracer variable within this grenade blueprint, it'll know exactly which tracer goes with that grenade. So we'll compile and save this, and we should be good to go. So we'll test this out, hit play, and we'll hold down the F key. Oops, I don't think I put in a spawn transform for that. There we go. Oh, sorry, forgot to hook these up. So the starting position of our projectile is going to be this grenade launch point. We'll get the world location here. We'll plug that in. And the launch velocity is going to be the same velocity that we had here from the forward vector times 1500 that we gave to the grenade. See the grenade toss velocity? So we're going to plug that in here, and now it should work. So hit the F key, and there you have it. And you can spawn out a whole bunch of these things, and you see each grenade knows exactly which tracer it belongs to. Alright guys, so that concludes this grenade tutorial. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and look out for more tutorials. Alright, see you guys later.